welcome. I'm Empty, and going to be doing starting a tutorial series on the C-130J module, and going to start off just by going through the mission editor for it initially. Keybinds, and probably cut the video there and go into each phase of the checklist, flying around. So I'm just going to throw it in here. And we're going to place it at Cobaleti. The reason why I'm doing this is because for the C-130J module, there's a whole bunch of extra settings that can be done by mission makers and everything inside mission in order to adjust the C-130. Obviously, you have the weapons stuff, but another key function on this page. So you can set different things on here. The main thing is that you can pre-flight complete. So instead of walking up to a cold and dark aircraft, what you can do, go ahead and set this, which means the power-up's done, the alignment's already done, and you can go straight into your cockpit setup, starting the engine, instead of having to wait for the full checks. We're going to be going through the pre-flight, or the power-up, as the Lockheed likes to call it for the C-130. But we'll start it with the ramp open. Okay, what we're going to do is this overall mission, and we'll come back to this, is that we're just going to fly. We're going to take off at a Cobaleti doing a normal takeoff, and then we're going to fly up to Sanaki. We're going to drop a bundle on Sanaki. We'll probably just fly in runway heading roughly in order to do that. So if we click, and we'll set that up momentarily. So to start, we're going to take off out of here. So what we're going to do is here at a point, we'll just take off at runway 25, coming out of here, fly up over here, and we're going to throw in point, and we'll just call it DCS. There we go. For that. And then all I'm just going to do is we're going to set up a 10-mile initial point from Cobaleti to just fly a visual in roughly about here. At here. Then we'll go back and land at Cobaleti. Nice, easy functionality. And we'll go through this basic setup, and we'll go through an LZ function for stuff. Set that to land. So there's a very basic mission setup, and I'll get into how to build the carp for the airdrop, and then also once it comes down to it. So is called going to edit. This will be IP LZ, and then set this IP. So that's going to be our initial point for our drop zone. This will be our initial point for our landing zone, and we can actually go ahead. To see what, or just to adjust it to about a 10-mile final for this. Are flying. Sweet. And we that departure, call it departure. One thing that we can do in addition will just be let's just say 1,500. We'll go 2,000 feet. 2,000 feet, and then this 1,500 feet. drop. We're gonna drop. We'll specify this. This will be 0 because it's on the ground. So that's 43 feet. And then we'll do 1,000 feet for. Cool. So that's going to be our setup for this C-130 training. C1. Lazy. Half spell it. Sweet. So that at least shows you how you can manipulate some of the stuff. Aircraft. So here to the aircraft. And talk about our keybinds. And this will be the first that we're going to be doing. So main thing functionality wise that you'll have. So obviously you have the pilots here, but I'm going to remove the pilots just to clear up some space here. So the main functionality that you have is going to be on your yoke here that you're going to want to set. So you'll have trim, you'll have a pitch sync, you'll have your dispense button, your go around button, then you have some buttons on the other side, which I'll show momentarily. Another button that you do want if you're doing a manual style drop be your jump button or your green light button as well. You're going to want your flaps bound, and I recommend putting that on a slider in order to do those incrementally, because we run 130 community with a 10 flap increment, and then we'll actually go and fine tune flaps even lower than that, or more fine tune when we're doing our airdrops. And then obviously the gear, some additional functionality. You can also, if you have a more advanced HOTAS, you can put the cursor control handle into HOTAS as well. Some more functionality. So, and then last but not least, unlike other aircraft where you can use your rudder pedals in order to control the aircraft on the ground, you actually have to use a control wheel. So you're going to want to bind that. And I've got it bound a little bit different. I know other people do. They use their rudder pedals, but they also have it to where it's a modifier to use the rudder pedals. I don't like that because it gets really wonky when you're trying to use both at the same time for takeoff. So I actually have it bound as a button on the stick, button left and right. So let's go to keybinds. Master. So main axes that you want to have bound are going to be your roll or your pitch and roll, and then you have your rudder. Well, in addition, you'll have your left and right throttle. You can do both throttles, or you can do all throttles as one, depending on how your setup is. I just have a left and right because I'm using 10 or hog, and then I have individual brakes for differential braking. That's the axes. In addition, I have the flap axis right here. So, cool. That covers that. The other big thing is your yoke. Sorry for the coughing. So, yoke buttons, primarily you're going to want to have the pilot, but you can also have the co-pilot if you're primarily going to be sitting at co-pilot in there as well. So, I recommend a stopwatch, which is going to be your hack. You also have pitch sync, your autopilot disconnect, your CMDS dispense button, and then your go around button. In addition, you can have your hush as well. Last but not least is the control wheel. So I've got it bound where it's these two buttons here, left and right. Other people do access binding. Cool. Sweet. The other thing that I would also do is you can bind on the throttles. There is an auto throttle button to disengage the auto throttle. Sweet. So that is a quick covering of the keybinds and the kind of the mission maker stuff of aircraft. I'll also do go through the cockpit next time and the power up. Have a good one.